What up, everybody? Let me say this before I even say anything else. No doubt I've heard all the internet chatter. I've seen all the IG posts saying Neek is dead and gone. I've even read the People magazine interview and saw the TMZ clip. But with all that said, my D is solid. I got my hands straight up and I'm not going for the pump fake. I'll believe Neek is dead and gone when they confirm it on an actual episode by showing the dead body like they did with Kanan, Angela, Walter Flynn, and Cooper Saxe, to name a few. Until that day, Starz isn't gonna hit me with the pump fake, the curveball, none of that. Just keep in mind that less than a year ago, they hit everybody with the pump fake on Book 2 Ghost when we all thought that Lauren was dead and gone, only to find out that Jenny Sullivan faked her death. And just like we hear how we're telling Rock that Neek is dead and gone in the episode 6 trailer, Jenny Sullivan was going around telling people that Lauren Baldwin was dead. And it was that act that even had me convinced. I also made a video talking about this at the time, but Paige shared a story to her IG with someone texting her saying, "You lied to me," with Paige replying back to the person, "LOL, I had to." So we've already saw a similar situation play out in Power with Lauren. Then BMF Season 2, we also thought that Lamar was dead, only for the Beast to wake up out of a coma at the end of Episode 1. Kanan also faked his death Power Season 3 and returned as Slim. And law enforcement faked the death of Felipe Lopez while he was in custody. And for those who say that Unique couldn't have possibly survived that beating, let's not forget that Kanan survived being stabbed and burnt. Terry from BMF was shot close distance in the face and survived. Franklin from Snowfall was shot 3 times in the back and survived. And even in real life, 50 Cent got shot 9 times. And a friend of mine got shot in the side of the head close range and survived. And walks around to this day with a big lump on the side of his head. But obviously, one of the main reasons why many of us think that Ghost is still alive and faked his death is simply the fact that they never showed the body to confirm his death. And it's like what Unique told Marvin in Raising Kanan Season 2. You know like I know, until that body shows up, he ain't dead. And I've heard it said that Ghost's body was never shown because he wasn't under contract in Ghost Season 1 at the time of his funeral. That is 100% true, but at the same time, they had 5 episodes in the Who Shot Ghost series for somebody to confirm the body. At the same time, if I remember right, the series was called Who Shot Ghost, not Who Killed Ghost. That being a clue right there in front of our faces. Now also keep in mind that Tariq shot Ghost because Ghost was telling Tariq that he was going to force him to turn himself in for killing Ray Ray. But this simply was Ghost forcing Tariq's hand, knowing that Tariq would respond in the same way that he did with Breeze. And we know for sure that Ghost would have never seriously turned Tariq in because he was an accomplice in the crime helping get rid of Ray Ray's body. Then go back to Power Season 5 when Ghost was about to turn himself in and Angela started questioning him. When he couldn't answer all the questions, she said that it will all lead back to Tariq. In the same way, law enforcement would know that Tariq didn't get rid of the body by himself. So Ghost forced Tariq's hand like a master chess player. Then by faking his death, he killed multiple birds with one stone. He cleared up the whole Raymond Jones situation so neither him or Tariq would have to go to prison. And more importantly, Ghost finally made it out the game free and clear. Now backtracking for a minute to Unique being the first Power character to fake his death. Most likely where Ghost got the idea from when Unique returned as Breeze after faking his death. Joey Badass said in the TMZ video, maybe y'all can petition 50 Cent to bring me back or something. This is going without saying how the People magazine was a completely different story than the TMZ video. But if Joey is saying to petition 50 to bring him back, this obviously means there will be no body shown to confirm Unique's death. And much in the same way, we know for sure that Ghost isn't dead simply because the fact that Starz has already tried to bring him back. but wasn't coming with a big enough bag at the time because Omari is asking for $1 million an episode. And I do think that they've made the budget to bring him back already, but that's a topic for another video. Another excuse that they're trying to say why Unique was written off the show is because Joey Badass was going on tour. Again, that is very, very hard for me to believe, considering Mary J and Method Man are both a part of the Power family, Snoop is a part of BMF, and BMF has also added 2 Chainz and Lil Baby. And Baby just got off tour. I know this because my godson went to his concert just a few months ago. Getting me to how I think Unique would be able to fake his death. After taking some time to think about it, this is what I came up with. Also remembering that the story is taking place in the early 90s where communication and technology wasn't as advanced. First off, when Ronnie rolled Unique's body down that hill, he wasn't doing it in Queens. He drove out of town to Brooklyn or Jersey or something like that to dump the body. Then somebody finds Unique and takes him to a local hospital where he has no identification and is in a coma. There, they will label him as a John Doe. At the same time, days, maybe even weeks have gone by in Queens without any word from Unique. Panessa reports him missing to the cops, and the cops check his shop where him and Ronnie fought and find Unique's blood everywhere and signs of a struggle. Because of this, Unique is assumed dead by law enforcement. Much like what happened with Ray Ray when Blanca went to talk to Destiny. She straight up told her that it's not looking like his body is ever going to be found. Then Rock and Howard, believing that Unique is dead, pin her entire operation on Unique to get the feds from continuing to investigate Rock. Just like how everything was pinned on Ghost after he was shot, and Tariq didn't have to worry about Ray Ray anymore. Because I'm thinking that back in those days, Queen cops aren't going to check every hospital in the country for Unique. They would most likely only check the hospitals in their own jurisdiction and keep it moving. Then in the season 3 finale, appropriately titled Made You Look, it will show Unique waking up out of a coma. Then in season 4, Unique will find out that Rock pinned all kinds of crimes on him, thinking he was dead, and stays dead as Unique and recreates himself as Breeze, following Law 25 from the 48 Laws of Power. Also keep in mind what Unique told Lou when Lou tried to tell him to go somewhere else in season 2, that the South Side is his home. This was also emphasized by Unique in his conversation with Warrell when Unique first got out of jail. So if Unique reinvents himself and returns as Breeze, he might not be able to move like he wants. And this would explain him moving into that apartment. It might also explain why Breeze was standing in the way of Ghost's future. And before I go, we've already seen one main character successfully fake his death and start a new chapter in life. Tommy Egan is currently in his second life living in Chicago after faking his death in the Ghost Season 1 finale. And honestly, if Tommy didn't get his own spinoff, and they didn't tell us that Tommy faked his death, would anyone actually think he survived that explosion? Because I'm still trying to figure out how they pulled that one off to this day. The only difference between Unique and Ghost and Tommy being that Ghost and Unique are at least smart enough to reinvent themselves and keep a low profile after faking their death, while Tommy is still going by his government name and driving around in the same car. And there you have it. Ghost learned to fake his death from Breeze, formerly known as Unique. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.